want to talk to you about culture and leadership. And I promised you that I would be teaching a formula that I've never taught before and reaching out to you if you need help with improving your school culture. And during this time of coming out of a pandemic and dealing with all the risk and issues and drama and fear and difficult emotions with everything that we've dealt with in 2020. There's probably no better time in history than to have clarity and reassess yourself. Spend some time really thinking about your leadership journey in early childhood and in your organization. What I want to share with you on today's class can work for any company. We've crafted a special formula for early learning companies because that's what we do. That's who we work with. And I have personally used this formula, and my coaches have personally used this formula to up-level and ignite the cultures in their preschools. And so without any further ado, I wanted to go ahead and just share it with you. And I have a little formula queued up for you here on the screen, which is kind of fun. And hopefully you guys can see that okay. So this special formula that I'm talking about is very mysterious. It's V plus CV plus H plus O plus T and E equals PCC. So what in the heck are you talking about, Chris Murray? So I want to dive into this formula and give you the exact words that these letters stand for and give you more training and clarity on each of these. The first one is V, and V stands for vision. So what we see oftentimes is that leaders, school leaders, have not clarified the true reason why you got into business in the first place. And this could be a really good time for you as we flow into the second half of 2020 and 2020. This is a really good time to assess where you're at now that we're halfway through the year, and it's been a year that none of us could ever imagined, and it's a year that will stand in history with how we've reacted to it as leaders in particular, right? And how we've helped people deal with their fear and their emotion and their health and their wellness and their mental state. The people that we lead, the people that we serve, the people that we do business with, right? And so V is vision. So what is your vision for your school? And again, why did you get into this business? Have you lost that? Have you lost that oomph, that drive, that understanding of clarity of what you really wanted to accomplish in the world? And more so than that even is, have you shared it? So if you haven't shared your vision with your team about where you're headed and where this crazy journey of life is taking you as a school, a preschool, a daycare center, childcare center, what you want to do is really spend some time crafting your renewed vision, your purpose, and then figuring out a way to communicate that to all parties that you interact with, especially your leadership team, your managers, your admin, and then your teachers. Everybody needs to understand your vision of why you started the school. What did you want to accomplish in people's lives and children's lives? How did you want to help people in a way that no one else, is doing? What is your secret sauce, your special sauce? And getting people in your tribe and your community that work for you to help you and be fired up about that vision. And our vision, I'll just share with you, our vision is 1 million children. So we have been driving towards this vision of impacting 1 million children on the planet for several years now. And my team is all very, very, very much bought into this vision. We talk about it all the time. We hire people to this vision. We onboard them to the vision. And we constantly talk about and measure where we're at in terms of how we doing at the 1 million children mark. And we are making progress every day with that. And so that's the V, okay? The next letters there on the formula are CV. What does CV stand for? Drum roll. CV stands for core values. And you have to have core values defined in your program that speak to who you are, and they take that vision and they drive it into a behavioral place in your school. So just talking about your vision is amazingly powerful, but then taking it to the next level about values and really understanding the values that set your organization apart. What do you stand for? How do you behave? What are your cultural norms? What are the behaviors that everyone in the tribe, in your community, of your company are super excited to move forward? And so core values is one of the most powerful tools in your toolkit as a leader. So we have a process that we teach you on how to develop your core values, how to define those behaviors, and then how to drive those behaviors and actually assess people's performance, and then different assessment tools that you can use to understand who you're bringing onto your team and what values they hold, as well as interviewing them, onboarding them, and then pulling them into your culture over the first 6 to 12 months that they're with you, and then long term. So that's core values. All right. That's CV. So we've got vision plus core values. So what do you guys think is next? What do you think the big H is? H stands for hire right. So when you have your values, your vision, and your core values set, then you can start hiring to them, right? And you get clarity about who you should be hiring and who is going to be a great addition to your team. So that's H. Hire right. We have a Hire Right masterclass that we've taught for the last few years. It's one of our signature top trainings that we really help you shift how you're hiring and thinking about how to hire A players and really put that very, very clear vision of who you want for your team out into the marketplace, and not just have a fog the mirror approach to hiring. Okay. So we want to get away from that, and we're shifting away from that, and we're helping many, many, many schools and organizations hire right and hire slow, let go fast is really the mantra. Hire slow, fire fast is an excellent thing to follow here, is that we want you to take your time. And I know sometimes it can be very difficult when you have people call out or people who leave your team. But as you're continuing to put that hiring funnel in place, you'll have an automated stream of excellent candidates, especially at this time. Because right now, you're having many, many, many teachers flooding the marketplace in most communities where we have coaching clients, and things are being freed up by schools that I guess have chosen either not to come back to business, or schools that have furloughed or laid off their employees and aren't able to bring them back. So more candidates and a little bit of a freer job market than we had pre-COVID. So that should benefit you as well. But you got to hire right, and to those core values and to that vision that you've defined in those first steps. The next step is O. So what do you guys think O stands for? O stands for onboard. And the whole notion of onboarding, that's a kind of a funny corporate word that most of us have embraced in ECE. And over the last couple of years, the term onboarding has really become a staple of what we do and how we do it when we are really trying to up our leadership game. You have to properly onboard people. They need to be brought into your culture intentionally. And this is very, very different from the schools of yore, the daycares and preschools of the 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s. Didn't even have the term onboarding. So historically, there was not a intentional process for bringing people on in the first day, the first week, the first 30, 60, 90. What are you doing to pull them into, inculcate them into your culture? Really in a loving, heartfelt, strategic way that has been choreographed essentially in your onboarding process. And so a great example of this is Donna Jensen at the Learning Station. So shout out to you and Brandy and your girls there, Donna, at the Learning Station. Donna's a coach on our team, and she also still owns her schools in South Carolina. And she took this idea of the core values and how we teach it and the behaviors. And she literally created videos for onboarding and a system and a process for almost like stations where new employees come in, and on the first week, they get onboarded to the core values of their school. And so there's, the onboarding, the core value teamwork, for example, looks like this. This is how it feels. These are ways that we work together as teams. This is how we collaborate. And so really laying that out for each new employee so they understand at a gut visceral level, at a cellular level, what that means to be onboarded into your school for each thing that you want to teach them, each component of your culture, each core value, etc. Okay, so that's onboarding. That's the O, the big O. The next letter in the formula is T. What do you guys think T stands for? V plus CV plus H plus O plus T plus E. So we're on the T. What does T stand for, do you guys think? T stands for train. So you got to have a training system. What we've been working with leaders on is how to develop an automated canned training system, but it's canned to something you've built for your school. Here's how we want to train our teachers and our staffers on how to do all the elements of their job, whether it's written training manuals. Video is fantastic. You could do audio components really easily. Make it even almost like a mini training podcast for your school. And there's lots of different multimedia elements that you can use there. But if you can capture it in video, all the better. And certainly you could do easy videos on your phone, but capturing that training process, your training systems, and putting it into a training portal for them is a huge, huge, huge asset to your business. And when you build these out, these are all assets that we teach as part of the Child Care Success Academy, particularly in the Freedom membership level, how to get freedom from your business. And so the training piece is key. So our poster child with the training piece, just like I talked about Donna with the onboarding, is Jennifer Connor. So Coach Jen Connor on my team, who has schools in Louisiana, and she's running them remotely from Mexico on the beach, is one of the first leaders that I saw actually create her own training portal, her own training video curriculum, if you will. And she made it fun. She made it interactive. She showed bloopers. She showed what to do, what not to do, from hand washing and diapering and cleaning and welcoming kids into the classroom on the first day, and curriculum planning and lesson planning and all the different elements that teachers need to have. She created a training system. So that's your T, and that's your homework there. If you don't have a training system, it might feel like a big beast to get your arm around. And I would just say, just start. Bite the elephant one bite at a time, right? And just start. So that's the T. And then what do you guys think E stands for? So E stands for engagement. What do you think? Education? No. It stands for empowerment. And so with leadership comes a practice for you to model great behavior and communication and empower, let your people do what they were designed and born to do. Understand what their gifts are. What are the natural gifts of all of your teachers and everybody on your team? Have you spent time doing different tools? And there's a lot out there that you guys can do. They can do the unique brilliance exercise we teach. They can do the Strengths Finder assessments. They can do predictive index. They can do DISC. They can do Myers-Briggs, and understand what their natural born gifts or unique abilities, as Dan Sullivan says, what are those things that they bring that they can do better, faster, and in a more gifted way than anybody else on your staff, on your team, okay? And so when you start empowering people into their gifts, discover their natural gifts, shine those diamonds, help them strengthen their strengths. Don't worry so much about their weaknesses. That's like an amazing writer downer potentially for you. And once I started really getting that and leading people into what I saw were their natural gifts, and sometimes they didn't even see it in themselves. And a great example here is Brian Dupre on my team, who had been coaching, and I saw a natural gift in him, and he was starting to see it in himself, but not fully. And as his leader, introduced him to the concept of selling. And he's become the #1 salesperson on our team, inviting people and selling people into the Child Care Success Academy. We are today at almost 230 members in the Academy, and that's up almost 50 or 60% versus a year ago. So what does that all drive back to? It drives back to our vision of impacting 1 million children. The more people that we can work with and do high-end coaching with and help them completely transform their lives and their businesses, the more those impacts are going to be felt at that child level. And that's what I'm teaching you today is all about that. If you can empower every single teacher, E stands for empower, on your team, how engaged and empowered will those teachers be able to impact children? How much better teachers will they be? How much more engaged will they be to make a difference for children and show up on time and do their lesson planning and come up with ideas and innovation and help you achieve and go way beyond what you ever thought was possible for your vision. Achieve your vision and then even take it further. But you can't do that alone, right? So you need to have empowered staff, empowered teachers and leaders behind you as the owner. And so empowerment, it's a lot to that topic. It's managing them well, it's having difficult conversations, it's really good communication systems, it's getting in front of the whiteboard and asking them for help, asking them for their input, having a 360-degree feedback system in place, bringing them into your vision and helping them ask them to help you take it forward. That's empowerment. Getting them to work with each other across the aisle of the classroom hallways, different age groups, putting them in teacher teams and mentoring programs that are not just in their classrooms, but across, giving them peer support and buddies. All of those things, doing book clubs with them, helps empower them to the next level. Okay, so that's E. And then what does that all add up to? It adds up to PCC. Well, what could that be? That is a positive, collaborative culture in your preschools. And that's the foundation of Relationship Roadmap, which is the amazing book that Cindy Alexander on my team wrote. Relationship Roadmap. It's the steps to your positive, collaborative preschool. And positive, collaborative culture is where the rubber hits the road, guys. That is when you hit it, and we've got lots of school leaders hitting it right now. They're writing to us, they're sharing in the Facebook groups about all the amazing things. They're using this opportunity to offboard or let go of or separate from their D, E, and F players. And they're filling those spots with A, B, and C, hopefully just A, B players, and really understanding how to shine those diamonds and how to give them opportunities to do virtual preschool classes or how to take those classes into the next level, even though they might be wearing COVID-related, PPE and masks and doing all the stuff that we have to do right now with health and safety and taking temperatures and doing increased hand washings. But you can still have an amazing impact on children and families, no matter what's going on in this life. And so that's what this is all about. It's about a positive collaborative culture. So to wrap it up, when you have vision plus core values plus hire right plus onboard them plus train plus empower, you get a positive collaborative culture. And that's the formula. That's it.